Hi friends, so today I want to share with you a lesson we had in our community where I went in depth into creating pads and ATMOS for your techno tune. This lesson is perfect for the people who struggle with this topic, but also for everyone who is like starting out, beginning to creating pads and ATMOS and want to understand better about what the context for creating pads and ATMOS, but also different sound design techniques for achieving those pads and ATMOS that will really work with your tune. This is only a fragment of the whole lesson we had in our community, so if you want to watch the whole thing and be able to influence the topics I talk about in the community, I wholeheartedly invite you to join our community. The link is in the description. So for now, enjoy the lesson. There are two, like for me, the two main ideas or two main possibilities when I think about creating pads and ATMOS. Like first is create some pad from scratch and use some instrument like to synthesize actually the sound. And the second one is to use samples. So let's first use the first example. Oh, hi Kacper. Meaning, let's use the example with the synthesis. So when it comes to synthesis, for me, one of the best synthesizers in Ableton actually is Wavetable. Because in Wavetable, you'll be able to have like different wave shapes and you can program their movement a lot. Oh, hola. Yeah, so one thing to notice is that good pad, good Atmo is something that breathes. It's like if we would be mimicking like a natural environment. Yeah, like we are in this atmosphere, and this atmosphere, like when you are in the forest or for example in the city or somewhere, it always moves, it always changes. Yeah, so there is like this, movement, like this change in the Atmo, and we want to mimic that. We don't want to have a still Atmo because then it will become boring. So let me show you what I mean. So in Wavetable, I have a basic patch. Yeah, it can be a sine wave. Let's have something more, yeah, something like that. Let's turn off the second oscillator. Maybe something piano, I don't know, oboe. So by movement, we can program the movement here quite simple by this is the movement, and once we hold over, just let me hover over this, here when we click on the matrix, we can already see that this is highlighted, and we can assign this to LFO by just simply dragging up or down. So if I drag this up, you see now it's linked to LFO. Let's turn down the rate. So we already have some basic movement on this. Let's also add a bit of movement on the second one. Maybe this one is not so. Okay, so we got some movement here. Let's actually link it to LFO too, and let's now change the rate. Maybe let's make this like that. And so let's see how that sounds in the context. And there was a question, and we can answer it already. How to create pads that fit the track, and do they need to run in the entire track? So to fit, how to create track that fit? Like the best judgment is our ear, whether it fits or not. But we can use some clues. So for example, our clue would be here. those notes. So we know we are kind of like hitting G, A, C, D. So I know I should be fairly okay if I would just go on those notes or in any notes that would compromise some sort of scale that have those notes. So if you can see, like the scale I have here, Phrygian doesn't work, but if I go minor, it doesn't work as well. So let's do, I don't know, like A minor, it works. So we can use all the notes in A minor, which will be all white notes. So when I play this, it sounds rubbish at the moment, but let me just change a few things. Let's add a bit of echo, a lot of reverb. Let's then add an amp envelope. So we have that swell, yeah, and it's usually a lot of the ATMOS have that, not that really distinct transient, so it's like a swell sound, like, yeah, it's like a, the sound swells, it's kind of hidden. Quite often, when we add a bit of noise here, we can hear that now it creates kind of, if this could be our pad, yeah, why not? So we have some sort of pad. To make it even more kind of interesting, we would add more of the movement to it. So right now we have only the movement of the wavetables. Yes, so our source of the sound is moving, but we can add a bit more movement, for example, by adding some frequency modulation. So let's, yeah, so we can modulate the amount of FM modulation here, and we can also add this to our LFO. Yes, so this is amount is going to be modulated. Now we can add some movement on the filter. Yeah, let's maybe do this kind of filter, and we want to move a filter a bit. But let's actually make it to LFO1. So you see the sound moves because of those LFOs being attached here. But let's make it a bit more interesting. I like to use Decimort, and small hint, we've managed to get D16th discount for you, so all the instruments and effects from D16, you'll be able to buy them 50% off. Just if you are interested, let us know. We will provide you with the instruction, and we will provide that instruction soon, how you can actually purchase all those instruments from D16. Hint, we are also working with Arturia to get you the discount, 50% discount for all the Arturia synths and effects. So stay on hold, stay patient. We will get that soon. So with Decimort, what it does is a bit crusher. Yeah, so we can use a bit crusher from Ableton which is called, I always forgot. Redux. Yeah, Redux is also a bit crusher, but Redux, like for example, yeah, we can have a bit of that sound, but it doesn't sound, in my opinion, as good as the C mode. When the C mode has that, yeah, that really pleasant crash. So what I would like to do now is to add an LFO, and I will link that LFO with that frequency. So let's actually map that to frequency, and we don't want it to be that that fast. We also want this to only work for depth. Let's do the depth. Remote, yeah. Adjust on the. Yeah, so now, in the whole context, or something lower. Okay, let me just turn off the, because I have some textures here already. And we can add a bit of sad. And now is the question, how should we have it played a lot or not? So it totally depends. Like for example, when we have this kind of situation, when we have like a beat going and we maybe add another like maybe hi-hats. So we want to like build the intensity in our tune. Maybe we will add some and then for example we want to enter the breakdown, and now like with pads, with ATMOS, there are good elements, good sounds to actually introduce the listener like a new word, like a new context. So you have all the elements you had already, but with this new pad sound, like for example some chord, maybe this one. So again we have this situation, our track is like moving, then we have like, we are adding some, yeah, we're building intensity, and then we for example want to slow things down, so we like maybe take out all the hats. Yeah, so it's kind of like giving us this new vibe. Yeah, we feel like we are entering a new world, and this is one context of using pads, which will work very well, because they will, just let me know, maybe I will stop for a moment, just let me know if that makes sense so far. You can write it on the chat or unmute yourself for a moment. Yes, makes sense. All right. Makes sense. Awesome. One more thing that those pads will do is they will interact with all the other elements we have here. So we have this kind of like a bass melody. Yeah, and when I add the pads, like this tone of this pad gives us, it kind of creates like this new harmonics for the pads. Let me just maybe put something more. Yeah, so it's like compositionally kind of giving us more more depth. Other context for that, because I was playing a chord like a D minor, I could also play a sustain note, and this is something I'm saying a lot of the times on the feedback session. When you build the groove, there's lots of elements, and then maybe you slow down the groove, you introduce some new element, but there is no this sustain sound. And I always say, like, add some sustain sound because it will create tension. So adding that note, one note, like for example, let's have it right now, maybe with all the groove going. Like it created that moment of like this tense moment, or maybe something lower, like yeah. So we have like when it comes, like when it grows, let's see, like here. Now this is like a tension, which we can release, because there is no this constant sound being in the background. So this will be a second context, when we will be using some sort of like this pad sustain sound to add context, to add tension to our note. And for doing this tension thing, like this was, I would say, kind of like a harmonious. Yeah, we could, like I could feel that it was in the tune. It didn't create that much tension in the sense of like I wanted to really stop. Like, let me know if you have some different opinions. Like, it was just okay. It was in the background. It built the tension, but we can do more. Sorry, and to do more with that, like for me, the perfect way to add tension to those sustained sound, is to detune them. So when we would add like a tuning of sound, yeah, it was smooth. Exactly, it was smooth. It was okay. It was smooth. Perfect. Thank you for that. But we could add a bit of like tone modulation, like tuning modulation. So we can actually have pitch modulation, and let me like show you if we would add an LFO. So let me just have maybe an A. It's smooth, but when we would add a pitch modulation, now let's see. there is much more tension because there is tuning, so maybe just now there is much. Should we stack more than one atmosphere? If yes, how we can avoid phase problems? Okay, I will touch upon this in a moment. Thanks for asking. So let's just come back to our groove. So just one more thing, like we can add an LFO to pitch, and we can do that in different ways, like maybe something like that. Now we have a lot of pitch modulation, which is, in my opinion, a bit too crazy. But I also like to modulate the tune over here, like. Yeah, so we can add the tune modulation. Let's add it. Now if I play the chord, it was this one. Tune those oscillators a bit. Yeah, exactly. Another way would be to use shifter. So actually we just use shifter. Shifter does it for us as well. My favorite is ring modulation. Now it's like techno. Yeah, if we want something less smooth. Let's add some LFO. I will export you this rack after the session. Yeah. So now it's like another. Let's just come back to the question: how we can create paths that fit the track. So with shifter, you can like create this tuning, which is like totally unique, and like whether it works or not, it's totally depends to your taste. Let's see. Does that work? Like, for me, works. But it has a lot of tension, which I like. Let's shift it. I like it as well. So maybe let's add a bit of more feedback, a reverb. So now we can have this kind of like an ATMOS being here and there. Awesome, like for me everything works. And then you can play a lot with this, for example, with this tuning. Like I could imagine this tune starting like here, and maybe then among the lines, like and you have different tone depending on the context. So that was a bit with the tuning. So let's come back to this 80 something because I like that. Let's just put this chord in. Where am I here? All right, so let's just have it play. So whenever I would have something like that, I would quite often add a compressor. Let's do a little compressor, and I would sidechain it with kick, really fast attack, fairly short release. So it pumps, so it kind of like breathes. And then we were talking, there was a question about stacking things on atmospheres. And I would say yes, I pretty much do that. So with this atmosphere, we have this stacking already with our decimort, because it adds that crackle, it adds that top end. So it works like a layer, I would say. But I also like to have another layer, which is quite often some atmospheric sounds. Like this is the Foley sound, me being walking in the forest or something. You probably have seen me talking about this many times. If not, like this is like a nature sound. So you can use, and I invite you and encourage you to use your own recordings, as this will give you your vibe, your sound, your kind of like a atmo, very, very unique to you. And to find something that has also a bit of movement, yeah? So with birds, there is like their tone. Maybe I was walking around the forest, so there's like this movement of my foot tapping on the ground. So let's, when we combine the two, yeah, like now this atmosphere is more alive. When we add a bit of processing to that atmo, now there is some kind of like a groove. Yeah, and then there is this guy, when did I have it here? So this sound, it's like an effect, and you had this HTP takes their operator. It's in the 35 Hypnotic Techno racks. You have it. So it's like a kind of like an instrument I've created from operator with some sounds and noises. So it plays couple notes. Yeah, so it just has that noisy thing, and when just on the top, so two of them together. Maybe. So usually when I build my Atmos, I would have them being comprised, if that's a good word, I guess, yes, from couple of, no, I wanted to have this, from couple of samples, or a couple of sound sources. So in this instance, we had those three. Oh, so yeah, these three. So let me have them grouped. Atmo. So let's play this once again. found that having couple layers just makes this atmosphere a bit more alive, give better context, and kind of like enhances the groove. So I found like 2, 3 being optimal. Like you don't want to have, you know, in too many, because then it will be hard to distinguish all the sounds, and you have to be also cautious about other elements in the mix down, like all this Atmo, like this one plays kind of key role. It's maybe like we can hear it, it's in the foreground. This is just a splash. This is super tiny thing. So yeah, this I did that in my last track. All right, awesome. So guys, just let me know if that makes sense so far. And with tones, you can go many ways apart from having wavetable. Also, an interesting way is to use operator. I would just copy the thing and I will swap the wavetable with operator, because I wanted to show you how you can craft really specific Atmo with operator. Yeah, I'm just playing because of the decimort and the echo. So we have this, yeah, but with this effect. Yeah, like just those two effects, echo with big reverb, and decimort gives a lot. We can swap, for example, decimort for phaser and flanger. This is, and maybe add a bit of blend. Yeah, it has a bit of like a resonance. So let's do this guy, and then we can use like this nice stacking of different operators. Like for example, let's turn this off for a moment, and that. Now you can like really create something very unique, maybe with and then let's add another one. So it's kind of like a creating chord, but kind of like a detuned chord. And then if we add a bit of spread and maybe no visualizer, like EQ is good, just EQ8, just you can visualize things on EQ8. So now I'm seeing what kind of frequencies I'm playing, but I would just encourage you to use your ear. And let's have the modulator, for example. Yeah, now it becomes kind of interesting when we add this attack. Which one is? Let's. This is already interesting by itself. When we would add echo. I'm just playing one note G. Let's see in the context. maybe erase some stuff. So this is pretty much the same as we would do with shifter, but I think this is interesting already. So what I would encourage you to do is just to think more with the ambience about like some specific tone and some ideas to discover something unique to you. I think this is, yeah, I like it. So let's try with shifter. Maybe that's too much. So now we can just, I don't know, we can play some chords. So this is super. And now you can, for example, if you want some tune that will be really like based on this ATMO, you can have this one chord. Like, let's duplicate it. And then maybe we can have like one note entering here and there, like for example another G here, and maybe we'll duplicate this, and instead of G we will play like A, and let's see. You can just, you know, play with it, add some different notes here and there, and again create the movement here with notes. So let me know if that makes sense so far. If you have any questions to the things I've showed you. Kacper gives me thumbs up. With track 16, this guy, track 17 now. I would use it here and there. So maybe there will be moments when I would just not like to have this texture playing all the time. Maybe, for example, at some point, I would like to like drop all that pop and stuff. I can like rebuild it again, and maybe let's yeah, it's totally depending up to us, but no, you can also, like answering your question, Xavier, we can definitely play with the density of those elements. But for me, like this one would be playing a lot. Like this is our, like for me, this is our texture, like something that we kind of creates our world. So I'll probably have this stuff playing. Okay, so I've showed you, awesome, yeah. We can also have a bit of auto filter on this. So it's like, there is a bit of movement on that as well. It's totally like up to us whether we want to have that or not. All right, so I showed you few things about synthesizing and creating pads and those tonal stuff.